All right, this is Boxing with the Truth, and I am the Truth. Today is July 29th, 2015, and today we have with us Luis Cuba Arias. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you taking time to do the interview. I know you got a fight coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get back in the ring August 15th. Down in South Florida in Miami. I'm ready. I've been training hard and ready to put on the show.
Okay, now you're fighting at super middleweight, right?
Nah, I'm a middleweight. For most of my career, in the beginning of my career, I was fighting in between. I was fighting no higher than 165. I don't know why they keep ranking me super middleweight, but I'm a middleweight. My last fight, I weighed in at 161 and a half, so I'm definitely going to be competing for a world title at middleweight first.
Okay.
And then I'll jump up to middleweight.
So now your record right now, your pro record is 12 wins, 5 knockouts, 0 losses, right?
Yeah, that's my record now.
Okay, now originally, you're from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right?
Yeah. That's where it all started.
And then when you turned pro, you joined the Floyd Mayweather Promotions. You went out to Las Vegas. You were out there for about 2 years, fighting under his banner, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then some people that follow boxing know there was a little bit of controversy. There was a video. A lot of people say, he wasn't very professional about it, kind of just letting you go on a whim. And you think it has something to do with the whole sparring situation with the Rockman brothers and the lawsuit and things like that. But you've moved on from that now, and it's been about a year. And so I know there was a situation with Jalon Love. He's the one that gave you the call to told you no longer were part of the team. So now, do you still maintain a relationship with Jalon Love?
Yeah, I do. I knew Jay Leon before it all started, and you just don't really want to burn any bridges. So I kept it cool. I just gotta understand his position in the whole thing. So like I said, things happen. It is what it is. Jay Leon actually apologized to me for the way it was handled and was like, explain to me what was going on. So, none of that stopped anything, So, I just kept moving forward. I kept it positive, and, I wish them nothing but the best.
So now, do you talk to Floyd at all? Are you guys on good terms or no?
No. I don't speak to him at all.
Okay, but I mean,
I let him do his thing.
I know it was the way it went down. Obviously it wasn't good for anybody. But I have seen that you have said, you do appreciate the time you spent there. You have gotten some good things out of that. It did help your career. I mean, so there is some positive that was involved in that. I mean, unfortunately the end wasn't. But you did have some good memories though there, right?
Yeah, definitely. I was under his wing for like 2 years. In the first year, I was one of the sidekicks. The guy was going everywhere with him. So I got to experience, his lifestyle for a little bit. I got to see, his big houses. I got to see all his cars. I got to ride with him in all his fancy cars, and it was fun. Like I said, it was real fun. But every movie comes to an end, and mine ended a little early, but it was still fun. I took the most out of it, and the most important thing was that I got 10 fights under my banner, 2 or 3 pay-per-view cards, and I took the most out of it, and I can't really complain.
And now, since then, I mean, you're with Rock Nation now, right?
Yeah.
And your trainer is John David Jackson, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't sound like you really lost anything moving from Mayweather, because I mean you're still with a big promotion company. You're with an outstanding trainer, so it doesn't sound like that might have actually been a good thing for your career.
Yeah, I agree. How many guys within 10 to 15 fights can say they dealt with 2 big time promoters? And like I'm blessed. At the end of the day, I had an undefeated record. So it doesn't really. I mean, it matters to an extent, but it really doesn't matter what the banner above the ring says, because at the end of the day, I control everything in that ring. As long as I'm performing, as long as I'm winning, I'm gonna get to where I need to get to. With certain people, it might take a little longer. As long as I'm winning, as long as I'm knocking you guys out, I can't be stopped. I can be slowed down. They can slow me down a little bit, but they're not gonna be able to stop me.
So now you're actually residing down in Florida, right?
Yeah. So now, John David Jackson primarily trains and lives in South Florida. So, which was one of the reasons why I moved down here. So, my whole team is pretty much down here.
Okay. And I just want to touch base real quick on some of the fans that didn't know you before you became a pro. You had a real outstanding amateur career. You actually, 2008, 2010, national champion at the middleweight at the U.S. Olympics Training Center in Colorado. You won a gold medal at the National PAL Champion. You were AIBA Youth World Champions. You won a bronze medal. And you won a silver medal at National Golden Gloves, right?
Yeah. I had a pretty good amateur career, That's why I don't understand why Florida let me go, considering all my accolades. But, all I could do is keep moving forward, man. The amateurs was a great experience. The only thing I didn't do was go to the Olympics. And had I went to the Olympics, I honestly think I would have medaled. I've always done well when it comes down to the world tournaments, but it's all a learning experience.
So let me ask you, how did you get involved in boxing to begin with?
Well, when I was younger, I was a real active kid. My mom rather had me, play sports than to be playing outside. So I was, bouncing around sports. But a lot of sports, are, especially in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, given the weather, they switch up. They're only temporary. They're seasonal. So I was looking for something year-round, and I had met the trainer who actually had trained my father. I had met him at a festival one time, and then I just asked my mom, could I go try out boxing? And they thought I was too small, so I went to the gym. We went to go get some information. This was all across. It was like, bring them in on Monday. I came in on Monday, and I stuck with it. And I took it as far as I could, and I'm still taking it further and further.
Okay, so do you have any type of habits that you need to do before a fight? Any rituals or anything?
Rituals? Well, I usually like talking to my mom, like right as I'm getting my hands wrapped. I usually take that time to call my mom. I always call my mom right when I'm getting my hands wrapped. And I always eat pancakes the morning of the fight.
Okay.
And so I've been doing that since the amateurs.
Is there any type of activity outside of the sport of boxing that you like to do that kind of clears your mind and just kind of gets you away from the sport for a while?
Well, yeah, lately, now that I'm in South Florida, like out here, a big thing that the guys go is they go on boats and do the jet ski stuff. So I would get into that. But really, I'm a laid back type of guy. I like playing, video games. I'm a movie guy. I like going to the movies a lot. And sometimes, during camp, I step away from camp for a couple of days. And, just spend time with my daughter. She definitely gets me away from all that.
Okay, so tell me something that your boxing fans wouldn't know about you.
Something that they wouldn't know about me? Let's see. Oh, that's a tough one. I would say that I have asthma. There's not a lot of athletes that are asthmatic. I have asthma. I'm pretty much, I'm a normal guy. I like doing normal things. It's just, I can fight. That's pretty much it. Other than that, I'm pretty normal.
Okay, well, now, like we mentioned, you do have an upcoming fight, August 15th. Your opponent hasn't been announced yet, but for the fans that aren't familiar with you, why should they come out and watch you fight?
I'm very excited. I have a very, very exciting style. I come in and knock people out. I have a lot of experience. So the way I set people up for knockouts, I look elite. I look like I belong with some of the best, and I've already been in there with the best. And I'm definitely growing as a professional. I'm getting better and better with each fight. It's only a matter of time till I'm a main event on HBO. So the fans, it's better to catch them early to be able to say before you see me on big time television, like, you know what, I actually got to see the kid on the come up. And this guy is definitely getting knocked out. I've been on a knockout streak this whole year, and I don't plan on stopping. So if you want to see some knockouts, you want to see some bombs and some brutal punching, some great boxing, I'm definitely on the watch for. Because I don't come to play games, I come prepared for war.
Okay, so do you consider yourself a silent boxer? Do you like to just get in the ring and take care of business, or once in a while do you like to entertain the crowd with the trash talk?
Every now and then I like to. I'm not too big on the trash talking. More, I like talking with my punches. Sometimes I do get excited and I get in there and just go throw bombs away. But now I've honestly been learning just to set guys up, and set the knockout up and then make it look prettier, breaking guys down. So I don't know, man. Every time I fight, man, you hear oohs and ahs from the beginning of the fight to the end of the fight. I throw a lot of hard punches. I'm very excited, very excited. So it's only a matter of time till the whole world knows it.
Do you have a favorite boxing movie?
A favorite boxing movie? I would go with Rocky. That's pretty much the best one in my opinion overall. The Rocky series was nice, and I enjoyed it. And I would go with the Rocky movies.
Okay, is there one person in your life that's inspired you inside and outside the ring?
My mother. My mother, she's one of the most hardest working women that I've come across. She sacrificed her life for me. She made sure that I never missed a meal. She went above and beyond to making sure I had everything that I could, that I needed. That I had the best education, that I had the best that she could provide. So you never really, I appreciate her now that I have my own child, and as my child gets older, I'll know more and learn more to what it is to be a parent. But I know with the sacrifices that she's made, it means a lot to me, and it's got me to where I'm at.
Okay, so I want to talk about a few guys in your division, and I want to hear what you have to say, and what you think of them, if you think there's possible any future fights with them. And I'm going to bring up two names right now because they're actually fighting each other in a couple days on August 1st. Sergio Mora and Daniel Jacobs. What do you think of that fight first? I want to hear your opinion on that.
I think it's a pretty solid fight. Sergio Mora, he's been in the game for forever, so this kind of his last shot. So he's definitely going to give it all. Daniel Jacobs is, he's good. He's a solid. He's definitely, he's a champ right now. His chin is a little suspect. He has been knocked out. He has been hurt before. And it should be a good little fight. So like I said, Sergio, this is Sergio Mora's last shot. Time is ticking on him. So it's either do or die. So it should be a pretty interesting fight.
So, do you see yourself down the line? Do you see you getting in the ring with either one of these guys?
Yeah, if they got belts, I'm not really going to sit here and pick and choose who I want to fight and when I want to fight them. My main goal is to go after all the guys with the belts and the straps. So, if Sergio Mora happens to have a title and he's on my hit list, I know Daniel Jacobs has the title right now, but it's not the big one, but still, any belt holders, I want to get in the ring with.
Okay. So do you see possibly a fight between you and Jermar Charlo anytime soon?
Jamar Charles is at 154. I don't think he'll be strong enough to move with the middleweight. If he does move with the middleweight, he's gonna find himself a lot of trouble. He doesn't hit hard enough. He can't keep guys off of him at 154. So I think his best bet is to stay at 154. You know, and he's doing his thing at 154. So why move up? He don't need to move up. He needs to fight at 154 and get his straps at 154 before he worries about the next weight class.
I thought, are both brothers at the same weight class? I thought Jermel Charlo was at 154. I thought Jermel was in your weight class.
Last time I saw both of them, they both fought at 154.
Okay.
Unless that one of them moved up. I mean, I don't think so. Last time I saw both of them, they were both fighting at 154.
Yeah, one of them at one time wasn't a middleweight. Then maybe he went back down. So okay, how about did you see recently the fight with Tony Harrison?
Yeah, I did.
So do you see a possible fight with maybe you and him, or possibly Willie Monroe Jr.?
Yeah, definitely. Willie Nelson, I actually already beat him before, so it's going to be the exact same outcome. We see he can't take a punch, so if I were to ever fight him, that fight's not going the distance. Willie Monroe, you know, he's a good competitor too, and maybe down the line, like I said, I'm looking for a lot of these guys don't have belts. You know, everybody you mentioned is in the same boat as me. You know what I mean? So unless these guys got some type of belt or they put themselves in position where after beating them I can get a title shot or it's for a title, then I have no problem fighting them. Other than that, you know, we're both looking up. You know, so until either one of them, you know, get a strap, you know, I'm not even worried about that.
Yeah, but sometimes you got to work your way through some of these guys to get a title shot.
Yeah, I know, but these guys haven't even been there yet. You know, in order for me to get to a title shot, I need to be fighting guys who have fought for titles, former world champions. These guys are prospects just like me. They haven't proved anything in the game. So a prospect beating another prospect proves nothing. You know, I need to be fighting and beating guys who have been there, who have been on that stage, who used to have a belt. Those are the guys that I need to be fighting and beating to get my rankings up. Two undefeated prospects or two prospects, you know, fighting each other proves nothing. You know, like I said, I need to beat guys who've already been in that position.
Well, how about a fight between you and Peter Quillin?
Yeah, definitely. Now we're talking. now that's an interesting fight. Now that's a fight that I'll take right away. You know, immediately. You know.
Immediately.
Champion. Immediately. You know, if that fight was presented as early as sometime next year, I'll take it right away. You know, I got the skills to compete with all these guys at the elite level. You know, just because I haven't been scheduled a 10-rounder or 12-rounder doesn't mean I can't go that. You know, we work very hard in the gym. You know, I'm a very skillful guy, and I'm very strong, and I'm only getting better and better. You know, so the only way I'm really going to test myself is by fighting these guys that are at the elite level. You know, so it's only a matter of time for me and Peter Quillin, you know, come cross paths or that fight gets brought up.
So Peter Quillin, if you're listening to this interview, give him a call. He's ready for you.
Yeah, but see, none of these guys, all they're going to do is hear me, and then they're going to push me to the side because, you know, my record is only 12-0. You know, so I got to go through the process. You know, I got to get my record up to 18-0. Then now these guys can start listening. Right now, to them, I'm only a little prospect who hasn't really proved anything, which to an extent they're correct. You know, but at the same time, as long as I'm still winning, as long as I keep winning and I keep impressing, it's only a matter of time. But they can only push me in the back for so long. You know?
No, I agree with you. Eventually, sooner or later, some of these guys are going to have to let you in the ring with them.
Yeah, they're going to have no choice.
Because once they start getting more zeros on the paper, whether they want to fight you or not, they'll sign for that money.
Yeah, they're going to have no choice.
So if there was a guy like out of some of the names we mentioned or some of the guys I didn't mention, if you had your pick right now, who would you like to get in the ring with?
I want to fight Gabriel Rosado. Gabriel Rosado has fought for the title several times. He's been in there with several world champions. You know, he's been somewhat of a stepping stone for a lot of elite guys at a high level. He's fought on HBO. He's fought on Showtime as an opponent. You know what I mean? So I think that's a perfect test for me. He's been in there with a bunch of world champions. You know, he at one point was ranked, in the top 10 in the world. He's fought Golovkin, Lemieux, and Peter Quillin. You know, all three of them have stopped him. You know what I mean? So I need my shot. You know what I mean? So immediately, like in the near future, I would like to fight Gabriel Rosado.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, you explained why, so I mean that makes sense to me.
Yeah, like he's been fighting 10-round fights for a while now. He's fought a bunch of world champions. You know, he's fought on Showtime. He's fought on HBO. You know, let me get him on HBO as a co-main, as a an opening bout on HBO. You know.
So now
he's doing everybody else his opponent.
Is your fight on August 15th? Is that going to be televised or no?
No.
Have you been contacted in the last few months by Al Haymon to possibly be on one of these premier boxing championships anytime soon?
No. I mean, I'm a Rock Nation, and as far as I've been able to tell, it looks like Al Haymon is keeping all his stuff in his inner circle. I mean, so I have not been contacted, and I don't think that contact will happen anytime soon.
Well, that's too bad, because I'm sure people would love to see you on TV, especially the way you fight. And like you said, you're an exciting fighter, and that's what we need is more people like you on TV.
Yeah, I agree. But it's only a matter of time. I'm gonna keep winning, keep knocking these guys out, and I'm gonna force the networks to put me on.
All right, well, listen, I'm going to end the interview on this last question, and then I'm going to give you a chance to say something to your supporters and your fans. Seeing that you came from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, basically a small area compared to like Las Vegas or New York, where a lot of these bigger fighters come from, and then you kind of got your chance to be with, one of the biggest guys in the business, Floyd Mayweather, out in Las Vegas, and now you're with some bigger names down in Florida. If a kid walked into the gym tomorrow and like a deer in headlights, and he had no idea what this business is about or how to go about it, what type of advice would you give him?
I would tell him, to focus on what you can control. There's a lot of things in this game that you can't control. Not every story has a great beginning, but you can control the ending. As long as the kid's working hard, as long as he's putting in the work, as long as he's focused on the person that's in front of him trying to beat him up, focused on beating him up, they can't stop you. They can slow you down, but they can't stop you. And the only way, you're going to keep being unstoppable is by putting the work in, and working like you're unstoppable. So you can... Don't worry about the business side. Don't worry about the bad stuff that comes with the game. Worry about winning and performing. Making sure you're not tired after every fight. Making sure these guys aren't going the rounds with you.
All right. And would you like to say anything to your fans or your supporters?
Just to all my fans and supporters, man, I'd like to thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. A lot of people be hitting me up. And supporting me and wishing me luck and just staying in contact with me, and I appreciate all of that. That motivates me, especially to my guys up in the Midwest. That's exactly where I'm from, and I appreciate it all, and I won't let you guys down. It's only a matter of time.
All right.
Keep following, keep paying attention.
All right, with that, the truth has spoken.